Thank you, Brian.
Yes, Jane and Derek can come back in. Thank you, Bill. And I'm gonna text Ryan. Oh, you did? Thank you. God bless. Glad to have somebody who shares my brain. It is, but it works when it does.
Okay, we're back. Regular session, now the executive session. Presentation of bills and accounts.
I move we pay the bills and accounts as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Cooper Lake improvements.
Okay, we're shut down for the winter. A couple of RFPs going back and forth. I guess our big decision right now is the colors for the new intake building. I have a color chart. Basically, I mean, they're pretty. I would like the building to disappear as much as possible. So my goal would be tomorrow to get our guys, somebody to go up and take some pictures from the far side of the lake. And then I'm gonna send them to the person who's doing the design. And we're gonna try to pick something that's gray, brown, something that will blend into the environment and you know, nothing that sticks out. If we can't find anything that does that, you know, we'll just go with like a brick colored facade, which is what was there. Unless anybody has any strong objections to that. You know, I want to stay away from colors that, you know, make it stand out like a sore thumb, make it aesthetically not pleasing to our neighbors. And I certainly can send the color chart to the supervisor, but the last time I did that, the town of Woodstock picked a pink building that we're stuck with. So I would maybe not want to do that. PTF is kind of a pink building up there. And we brought it to the planning board and said, you pick the colors. And they picked the ugliest one in the box. And now they complain about like pink eyesore.
Anything different or new on that, the Ashokan connection?
No, they're working with Central Hudson to work something or other out on the transformer and the drop, but no, everything's moving forward. We did get some good news. We were normally down to 1096, which is 10 feet below full. We were there, and I've shared that makes me very nervous because right now water's still coming in the lake, but that's going to freeze at some point. You know, maybe it won't this year, but you know, usually that stops. But we have, the engineers have reevaluated, and we can go up 2 more feet, which is a huge difference. So Derek is busy filling, Derek Bershins and the guys at the plant are busy taking all the water they can. And so we're at 1097 and we're hoping to put that other foot in there in the next week or 10 days. And then we'll be in better stead. But so far we're able
We can maintain it 8 feet.
Right now we're maintaining at 8 feet, yes.
But during construction, we'll
Yes.
go back down, or
We might for certain portions of it, but that will come later in the spring or next year, actually, next summer. So right now, we can do this because it is what it is. So that was good news.
And when do they expect to be back in operation?
You know, we haven't talked about that, but my guess is March. You know, the good news is that they still haven't gotten their MWBE EFC stuff done. And it's not really, it's a challenge to do this one because the entire project isn't MWBE eligible. It's only the stuff that we're going to be doing in the summer. It's not the stuff that we're doing now. And so
EFC stuff.
the EFC stuff, we finally got it straightened out. The EFC was good. It was, part of the issue was they're out of state and it's a big enough company, they have MWBE type specialists, but every state has peculiar stuff. Anyway, we finally got everything in. EFC doesn't get to approve these waivers. That goes to somebody in the Department of State. instead of every agency or every group giving waivers for these things, every sub-agency approves the package and sends a complete package to this Department of State. So that's where it is right now. So I'm hopeful that in the next couple weeks or months, they get that approved. And we can move forward. So that would be nice.
Transmission main rehab project,
Oh, we're waiting.
still waiting?
Well, we still, I'm not aware that they got the valves, the one valve was supposed to be, the one set of valves was supposed to come in December. And the other in February, so clearly that one hasn't arrived yet, but they can't do any work until the spring anyway, so we're kind of at a standstill with that. I think they have one outstanding bill that, was sent to me and normally they send it to me and Matt, and I just kind of don't say anything or do anything with it. Matt takes care of it, and evidently they left him off the distribution, so they didn't get paid. So we're taking care of that next week.
Okay, we 2020.
We're doing well with that. The engineers have the specs for the valve insertions or the valve replacements, and I've got to reissue I have a request for proposals out that I gotta get from our electrician and our hardware guy, and then we can finish the scheme. So that should be done very quickly.
So we have to go out to bid on these things?
We don't go to bid. No, these
Oh.
are like, we need an electrician to do certain things. He's below the limits for an RFP, for a
Okay.
bid. And the same thing with the hardware. It's, less than $10,000 of the equipment that we're gonna need. So I just have to get people on board to do that.
Tech City.
Take it away.
I would request the board to they have a resolution that the contract with Tech City contracts with Tech City be canceled on account of their non-payment and breach of the contractual agreements.
Okay,
I'll make the motion.
a second?
Second,
Okay, any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it's effective January 15th, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then you want to report on the meeting? Since we're back in regular session? We're having a meeting.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, my mind just blanked there for a minute. We're meeting with the new owners on Tuesday at 3:00 via telephone conference.
Some of the parcels. The remaining owners, the other parcels are not going to participate.
That is correct. We're only talking to the people, National Resources.
And they're on the east side of
They're on both sides.
the property.
They
Primarily it's
have,
block building.
they have all of the parcels on both sides of the road, except the two that are owned by the county, which are the old Bank of America buildings. And the three in the back that back up to the railroad tracks that are owned by a manufacturing group out of the city that Ginsburg sold to at the 11th hour just before they were going to be foreclosed on. Those people, the county, the county's certainly aware of this conversation we're going to have, but they're not going to participate in it. And neither of the people, personally, I think we need to talk to National Resources and find out what's going on before we can.
It's
Why is that so?
understood, though, that the negotiations will involve the supply of water to the entire property, not just to one individual user.
If that is not their understanding, it will be when we get done talking to them.
Yeah.
They, by the way, Dan A. House requested, and I gave him, because it's a public document, the contract that you're canceling with Tech State. So
Yeah,
that should make it clear that it's for the entire,
And I reported that contract in the county clerk, so it's public record.
right, but why would you make somebody, I don't ever make anybody foil stuff that, we're gonna give them anyway.
Okay, so let's see where that goes.
Who's gonna be present with the board at that meeting? Just you, just
I'm planning on,
Yeah.
all the board members going to be present for that?
Anybody who wants to come is welcome to come, but I think, like interviews, it's, you might wanna have a critical mass, not overdo it.
well, right now, there's two people on their end.
I don't know who's on, I mean, I know Dan House is gonna be there, but I also know at least one of the owners, if not both of them, are gonna be there. I don't know beyond that who else they're gonna include. I certainly would want Bill there, I mean, just
No, I'm
because,
gonna be there, but I would suggest that ultimately you're gonna need a meeting with all three entities, county, the
ultimately,
third
yes.
one, and natural resources,
Well,
at some point, don't you think?
Yeah, I want to figure out what's going on with the manufacturing lots too.
Unless natural resources, as we discussed, is planning to take the responsibility and then,
I think we need to see what happens in this conversation on Tuesday, and then that may or may not be necessary. I mean, I'm interested to hear what their plans are for the property. Mary, are you aware of what their plans are? I mean, you haven't had a meeting with them,
No, we haven't.
so would you like to be on that conversation it's at 3 o'clock on Tuesday? I mean, just,
There's kind of, at some point, we will need to have a conversation, as you guys alluded to, with really the town and the water department and really the city about, are we going to be selling more water in the future? Who's going to be
Right.
actually managing all of this? I think I'd like to be involved in that conversation, of course, but I think that this one initially, I'm fine with you and Dennis and whoever else, kind of at least trying to get a handle on what their plans are and what they plan to do. And I'm sure you'll keep me updated, but I do think at some point we do need a more global conversation on how we're going to handle water supply in the town of Ulster. But I don't think that that's Tuesday at this point, probably.
no, I don't want it to be Tuesday. I'd like to find out what their plans are for the property. If they're gonna be minimal water users, it almost doesn't matter, but I suspect that they're not gonna be. And then, there's much more global issues, as you alluded to. I mean, I think, I would hope that no one gave them the idea that we had a commitment of 1 million gallons a day to Tech City like we did for IBM, but I'm not sure that isn't their notion. And I think we need to set that straight, because that really would curtail development within the city, and we can't do that. So yeah, I think your point, we need to do that.
Yeah. 2021 audit RFP.
Matt,
Yeah, you all saw we got 4 responses back. And so 3 of them were about the same, and then we had one at 10,000, which is half. They're all, I think, based on what they submitted, equally competent, so I would say, I would ask for a motion to approve RBT for at least 3 years.
Okay, that's.
RBT happens to be
Who's that?
the city's auditor as well. I mean, they went out to an RFP. And that is part of the reason why the price is less, because it's less work not to have to redo that, but they are giving us a separate audit from the city, even though we're part of the city's comprehensive audit that they submit to the state, because I think that's one of our financial requirements, is to be able to give a state of our finances to the city, and I think that can only happen if it's a separate audit. So.
Okay,
Okay.
need a motion to accept then, correct?
Yes. Yes, we do.
I'll make the motion to accept our ETCPA's contract price.
And that's for 3 years with a chance for 2 additional.
Mhm.
Okay, do I have a second?
10,000.
I'll second it.
Okay. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, carried. Thank you.
Correspondence?
I don't know.
Superintendent's report. Any questions? No, I'll entertain a motion to accept.
You have to have a question.
No.
The first-
Mark this down on the minutes.
That's the first.
It's a person I haven't had a typo.
Didn't have a.
Didn't have a typo.
I'll make a motion, we accept the superintendent's report.
Hey, you have a second?
Second.
Any those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mary? We already had executive session earlier. Motion to adjourn then.
Can we, yes, or we speak? Sarah, can I have a question for the board members?
Yeah.
That's okay?
Sure.
So Derek and I, we're part of the negotiation team, and we're here to try to bridge the gap between the board and the negotiation team for this negotiations and for all future negotiations. We would like you to come to our next board meeting next Thursday here at 12 o'clock. And to sit with us and hear from us, and we would really appreciate your presence and being part of it. We think you're an intricate part, we know you are, and I would like to have you be there to talk to you.
It's inappropriate for the board to have a conversation with members of the team, whether you're a member of the team or you are just an employee, so they really can't participate directly with you or even make a reply to your request.
Right, and Jane, unintentionally, what you're doing is a violation of the general law.
Isn't it?
Yes, it is. It really is.
You
And
know,
I'm not saying that, it just is.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think I don't think the board is gonna file any kind of a,
no, we shouldn't even go having.
we really can't have this discussion.
Oh,
Does Adam know that you're?
yes, actually. he
Okay.
does, Yeah. Yep. No, I was gonna ask. It's just, yeah.
It's a reasonable-
Request,
No, it's reasonable that you should believe you should be able to come here.
yes,
You wouldn't have done that,
no,
but working fine.
okay. Well, that's interesting. Oh, I apologize.
No need to. No need
I
to.
didn't mean
That
for you to-
that invitation has to stop there. It's more of an open invitation. Listen, we believe we're all a team here.
Yeah.
If you fail, we fail.
There, you really can't even have that part of the conversation.
This is something completely different. Bill.
I know, you really shouldn't say anything at all about it.
What I.
What I was gonna say was that.
What
Okay,
you're going to,
but-
don't even do it.
Bill, just please let him finish, because I know where he's going.
Thank you.
And I know he's not
And this-
talking about negotiations.
No, absolutely not.
He's not.
This is more of an open invitation for you guys to come see day-to-day operations for future reference.
That's true. That's true. And I'm also,
I know that board members used to come downstairs and
well,
from
and
time
that
to time. and-
appropriately, that should be directed through me and the management team, but I would extend that invitation and we can set that up. I think that's a good thing,
Right.
to see what you guys all do.
Yeah.
You guys all, I mean, not, as I said to them in negotiations, and I think I know I've said it to you, this is the best team that I've seen, because these guys are serious about getting this resolved. And so, well, I've been on the team for a long time. And so, no, it's a good thing. And so and I'm hopeful that we're gonna get somewhere, but we gotta.
More so in the sense of, like I said, day-to-day.
No, we got the best employees. Mayor, don't take this the wrong way. But what I've said is our worst employees are better than some of your better employees. And I feel that way, and I know I'm prejudiced, and you've got some very good employees, but you know, our one or two rotten apples aren't that rotten, so it's good. That's right. So,
Can we leave? Meeting's adjourned?
Motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you all.
Thank you.
I got brought up on killer law charges, my very first year as superintendent.
You are.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night,
Good night.
hang on,
Bye-bye.
hang on.
I didn't know last time, Mary, I just thought it-
No.
We appreciate your interest.
Jane, I just wanna
Copy that resolution, and it's gonna be